you're in confusion is because everything else becomes a priority except relationship. And because there's no relationship, there's no assignment. You have to understand what I'm talking about. I say you must understand what I'm talking about this morning. That's what we lost. That's why our pursuit. That's why until today we get saved. And when we get saved, we still don't get into that Edenic revelation. We don't get into an Edenic space. This is where the early church entered. An Eden. An Edenic space. Where for them, God was everything. And because they had the abundance of God, then the Bible says that there was none of them that had any need. Things are, because that's primarily what Eden is. The concept of Eden is that everything else pales in comparison. Everything else is not a pursuit, but everything else becomes pursuant. It follows. That is what must be restored in our day, because that's what we've lost. We've lost the fear of God. So it doesn't matter even if God comes in a mighty way, we will not value that. If God comes in a mighty way, and I'm not driving the kind of car I should be driving, I'm not living in the kind of house I should be living in, even forget that. This morning I just came and I've not even taken breakfast. God moves in a powerful way and you cannot even respond. It doesn't do anything to you because there's something. What an unfortunate thing it is for you, for us, that I can be removed from the intensity of the glory of God because there are certain things that are not working out. Unfortunate. I can be removed from the intense glory of God because there are certain things that are not working out. That it is possible for me to be removed from the presence of God. That even an SMS can remove me from that space. Listen to me, child of God. The temptations of Jesus were tripartite, were three. Let me explain them. The first two will be satisfaction, and the other one is what? Fame and recognition. But those are, you have to understand that dimension. What's that dimension? The dimension of sons of God. If you are a son of God, those two dimensions. If I'm a son of God, I will be satisfied. If I'm a son of God, I will be famous. There's something that shall happen to me. I will go to the highest point in the temple and throw myself because I'm a son of God. You have to understand that very carefully. You have to understand that very carefully. The first two temptations. And that's why it is normally very easy to fall into the third if you've already fallen into the first two. Why? Because you've got to understand, number one, my sonship is not defined by the devil. I'm not a son because I've proved it to Satan. I'm not a son of God. I'm not begotten by God because there's something I am doing that the devil can see I'm a son. I tell you. That's why it is easy for us, even us as preachers, to live in sin. Because if I live in sin, but I'm still able to prove to the devil that I'm a son of God, then I remain a son of God, right? That's our understanding. If I'm still casting out devils, if I'm still doing things, there are things that if I'm doing, it means I'm a son of God. Your sonship is not on how much the devil is defeated in your day, but how much God is glorified through your life. I am a son because he begets me. I am a son because he engrafts me. It is his doing. So my focus will be to please him. I have nothing else, I have no one else to please except him. I have no other attention, I have nothing else to prove to any human being or any principality or any power. My sonship is guaranteed because he has begotten me. This day have I begotten thee. Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Then in that space, ask, and I will give you the nations for an inheritance, even the uttermost parts of the earth for your heritage. Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. So there is that expression. Why am I a son? Not because I have turned stones to bread, but because he has begotten me. There is a day when he begat me. There is a day when he births me. And these birthings continue. He keeps on birthing you into different dimensions, into different realities, into different things. He keeps on birthing you. This day have I begotten thee. The first two temptations, that's the trick. Eat so that people can know that you're a son of the king. Take every impossible situation and turn it to a possible situation and manifest. It can't be as a response to the devil. Sons of God are not more concerned about the devil. They are more concerned about their father. It's not what the devil is doing that you respond to. It's what your father is doing. Jesus said, my father, hitherto my father works. My father is working. Hitherto I work. I don't work because there is evil on the earth. I work because my father is working. The focus of sons at all times remains the father. Sons are not just begotten by the father, but sons are with the father. He does not just beget you, but he begets you for himself. When God births me as a son, why did God save me? Why did God save Micah? So that in this day I would be with him and he would be with me. Sons of God are the reason why God is on the earth. His sons are his reason for being on the earth. You understand what I'm talking about? His sons are his reason. So, when Jesus prevailed over these two temptations to prove himself a son of God to the devil, when he prevailed over that, then he's brought to the third one. And this is where a lot of trouble normally comes. Point number 3. He is shown the kingdoms in a moment of time. Kingdoms. And he is shown things. Because what was taken away from man when he left the garden? Control and dominion over things. He says all of these are mine because they have been given me. Who gave him? Who gave him? But of course there's something that is set in motion there. There is an understanding that you must understand by the statement that the devil makes, because Jesus did not refute it. What must you understand is that it is true that these things are given. Things are given. Showed him all the kingdoms, all of them. And he said, all of these kingdoms are mine because they were given me. These things are given. They are given. He said, but now you will have them if you bow down to me. I will give them to you. And Jesus said what? He said, get behind me, Satan. For it is written, thou shalt worship. It is written, thou shalt worship the Lord your God, and him only shalt thou serve. So, what is normally the contention of things? Worship. What is normally the contention of things? Worship. Why is it that the enemy will sometimes cause you to lack things to determine your worship? Let me tell you the truth. Those of you that are renting houses, if you are in the middle of worship and God is touching your life that time, and your landlord writes to you and tells you, you hear a message, and the phone happens to be the kind of phones that when they vibrate, it is on the Richter scale as an earthquake. And you see him saying, I'm going to close your house today. Even if you were in the presence of the Lord, you will leave. Things command lordship. You've got to understand that. When Adam was under the lordship of God, things were under the lordship of Adam. Adam did not bother about anything. Did not. His focus was right. His attention was right. There was nothing around him to distract his attention. And you will notice a lot of times, even when you begin getting intimate and you begin getting deep with concentration in the things of God, when you're concentrating in God, when you are concentrating, maybe times of worship, maybe times when you are just having your times with God, you will notice this consistently, that something that is lacking will always come to your mind. The rest of the day you will be fine. The rest of the time you are fine. Yeah? You don't even think about anything. But you begin entering those deep places, and you begin thinking about your career choice. Those are the times you begin asking, what are you doing with your life? That's the time you ask yourself, what am I doing with my life? And you leave prayer to concentrate on things that you cannot even change. Because they are looking for worship. Cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, and other cares. Cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and other cares. And I realize these things don't end. I'm not where I used to be. But I have realized that as I have grown into who I am now, so also have my troubles increased. My cares have increased rather. Not my troubles. My cares have increased. The things I'm concerned about, I never used to be concerned about some time back. But they're being used for what purpose? Why is the enemy using them? Why is the enemy using them? Why is the enemy doing it? To get your worship. What is being targeted? Your worship, that you will not concentrate. Because if you concentrate in worship, you put things in perspective. Things come back to their right order. So Jesus has perfected his worship. What has happened to him? What has happened to him? There's feedback. What has happened to him in concentrated worship? Get behind me, Satan. You understand that? In concentrated worship, in perfected worship, where is Satan? He did not begin by casting him out. He began by perfecting his worship. When he set things in right order, then everything else was set in right order. If he is rightly aligned with God, everything else must be rightly. So get behind me, because it is written that thou shalt worship, and him only shalt thou serve. Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Because the essence is to remove your concentration. I know you can believe the Lord, and that's true, and we will do that. We'll believe the Lord for impossible things. But the most impossible thing is having God. That's the most impossible. There is nothing that is impossible as having God. Why? Because it is written, it is impossible to please him without. It's impossible to please him. Not hard. So, impossibility in this kingdom, is in attaining and handling and remaining with God. That's the thing that is impossible. Not you being a multi-billionaire. That is nothing. That is not even hard. You just need to read the Bible. I don't know if you normally read the Bible. When you read the Bible, you realize that's not hard. It's not hard for a person to become rich. It's hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom. You've got to understand which one is hard. Not hard for a man to become rich. It's called the deceptiveness of riches. You see wealth? Very deceptive. And every time it is out to draw your attention. That's why I've kept on telling you, you give Christians some little bit of money, some money they did not have before. Their entire worship changes. Because they are entering that space without having perfected certain things. I'm saying something. Yes. One of the things that God told the children of Israel, He told them, when you have eaten and you are full. He told them when? When? Because it is always a matter of time. You enter into this covenant with God. You begin living this covenantal life with God. It's not an if, it's when. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed that there must be a day when you enter into that space, when you have eaten and are at food. The worst thing for you is entering that day and you have not perfected your worship. My God. When? Now, when before that day comes, the day you normally are in is a day of very great impossibilities. You're looking at everything and everything else looks impossible. And the only thing you have is God. And He also is not enough because He's not giving you things. Unfortunately, I pray that somebody understands this. I will have to continue from there on Sunday. But I pray that you understand what I'm talking about. The worst thing in your life, is that you will not put things in perspective. They will bubble you so much. You remember the other example I gave the other day? We were having Regina and her husband talking, and there were people around them talking. They don't give them time to concentrate. You cannot have any concentration. That's what normally happens. That's why things happen. So that you don't have time to concentrate. And you're told the only way you can sort these things out is by what? Bow down. So you bow down quickly. You don't even know what happened. You don't even know what? Because the things that were bombarding you. Yeah. There's a day I was in Sila with my old red truck. That was before I got married. And my side mirror, I didn't know that that's a trick they used to do. My side mirror, it was turned, so I rolled down the window. It wasn't a power window. It was, you were the power of the window. So I powered that window down. So as I was powering it down, somebody was on my side. The car was a left-hand drive. He began banging on that side. Wait, making so much commotion. So as that is happening, I've already rolled down the window. Another man came, unlocked the door, and opened and grabbed my phone. Thank God. That was an N70. Those of you that know those days. I had a Nokia N70. Those days. So he grabbed my phone. But the Lord had just helped me. Sometimes living with God is a very good thing. I had bought that phone and I had not put that strap. The Kitambo they used to have, you could put a strap. I don't know if nowadays they have that. The ones we've bought, they don't have that provision for a strap. There used to be a place where you could put a strap. So mine, I had bought it, I had not put a strap. Then, a couple of days, I decided, let me just put the strap. So he pulled it with the strap. And I put my hand down. And the thief stole my strap. But you see what had happened? They had distracted me. With the commotion, I did not know how to respond. So by the time you come and ask me what has happened, nimeibiwa. Umefanywa sijui, nilisikia tu makelele. The next thing, sina simu. That is how things have been happening in your lives. That's why you don't concentrate. Yeah. That's why you don't concentrate. That's why you get to prayer, and when you're praying, when you're supposed to be focusing on God, because your greatest need is Him. Your greatest need is not things. If you're going to pray with a prayer list, you've not understood prayer. It is close interaction with God that brings all things to perspective, so that you know what you need to pray for and release things in their time. Because a lot of times you have very many needs that are not even in time. Are you understanding what I'm telling you? You have very many needs, and those needs are not in time. So until you learn this which Jesus learned in the wilderness, he was hungry, but he was not confused. He was hungry, but he was not defeated. Yeah. Because the work of the enemy is to culture you, to culture your mind, to culture your understanding, to culture your belief system, so that you don't walk by faith. If you're not walking by faith, because the first thing that faith gives you is a right relationship with the Lord. It doesn't manifest impossible things. It gives you what is the most impossible thing? Having God. The Bible says, therefore draw nigh unto him in full assurance of faith. That's what the Bible says in Hebrews chapter 10. Draw near in a full assurance of faith. My faith must be bringing me close to God and must be bringing God close to me. Draw nigh unto God, and he shall draw nigh unto thee. That's what must be happening. I must be drawing. My faith must be accelerating me more to God. My faith must be making me more comfortable to be with God, not attaining more things. Listen, as I've said, I want you to understand my statement so that I am not misquoted. I have not said that you don't believe for things, but it is not number one. If what you get is things first from your faith, there's no distinction between you and the world. And using faith to get things is a very slow process. It is easier to compromise than to live by faith to get these things. I'm telling you the truth. If what your faith is getting you is things, because they are already in the hold of the enemy, what is the enemy looking for? In your hands. What is he looking for from your life? Worship. Worship. These things are already in the hands of the enemy. My God, I pray that you understand what I'm talking about. They are already in the hands of the enemy. Jesus did not dispute it. So if you will bring these things to their right perspective, you yourself must be in the right perspective. My faith should be getting me more of God more than anything else. My faith should be getting me more of God. Should be getting me more of God. More than dominion over my enemies. Because if I have him and my worship is right, where is Satan? Where is Satan? Behind me. If my worship is right, where is Satan? Behind me. So if I am setting this in motion, in right motion, and I am consistent at it every waking moment, I am perfecting my worship, then I am confirming the placing of the devil every single moment. He remains behind me. He remains behind. Get thee behind me, Satan. Get thee behind me, Satan. Peter comes to Jesus and tells him, you will not go, you will not be crucified. And he tells him what? Get behind me, Satan. For you do not mind the things of the kingdom, but you're minding the things of this world. Get behind me. That is how it works. So if I have more of God, then I am having dominion over the devil. And that's what the devil doesn't want you to know. The devil wants us to just keep on thinking that it is because we are binding him that we are having authority over him. That's not how the scripture works. What does the Bible say? It says submit yourself to God, then resist the devil and he will. So anyone that resists the devil and the devil flees, what is the one thing about them? It's not that they are powerful in the realm of the spirit. is that they are submitted. They have perfected their worship. Great faith. This is what I'm teaching you. I said it must move from faith the size of a mustard seed. We've not even attained that. Faith the size of a mustard seed. It comes to great faith until it comes to precious faith. Precious faith. Because precious faith allows you to enter heaven while you're on earth. Hallelujah! Great faith. This precious faith makes you draw near. This precious faith makes you draw near unto God. Draw near unto God, and He shall draw near. Oh, that's what begins to happen. That my faith draws me near, and my faith draws Him near, so that we come to a place where we have fellowship. Draw near. That's why today, as you leave this service, you will not just live with a miracle, you will live with Him. He will have my faith must bring Him close. My faith must draw me close to Him. But as for me, it is good that I draw near. But as for me, it is good. It is good for me to draw near. It's good. That's what my faith is doing. I have precious faith. Precious faith. What's the point of having faith that will only get me a Porsche? And I'm getting it after others have